Hi, I'm Movie Man. I'm an octopus who reviews movies, and today's review is going to be on.
Not in this life. There are things you have to ignore.
Now, I knew this movie was coming out. I knew alright. This was kind of the next film in Cillian Murphy's filmography after doing Oppenheimer. I was aware of this movie's existence. I know this film is based off of a novel by Clare. He premiered back in February at the Berlinale Film Festival, where it received generally positive reviews. And now the movie was actually released there in Irish cinemas on the 1st of November. Now, thing is, this movie came out November 1st, so it came out there like a few weeks ago now already. But the thing is, though, I only got around to seeing the film over a week ago now, as of me recording this video. The day I'm recording this is November 21st, and it has been a week now since I went to go see this movie. But I mean, it's fair, this movie did kind of look good enough. I know, alright, the movie is based off a novel. I've never read the novel, just to be clear, so I can't exactly make a comparison between the novel and the film. But yeah, I went to go and see the film adaptation of it there last week, as of me recording this. And now that I have seen the movie, it's been a week since I saw it. What are my thoughts on this movie? In my opinion, I liked this movie. Yeah, I gotta be honest. Overall, I thought this movie was pretty good. I have seen some reviews for this movie that have actually called it a really good film. I know there have been some great reviews for this. For me personally, I wouldn't say that I exactly loved this movie, to be honest, but nonetheless, I still thought overall it was a pretty good movie. Now, getting into my actual thoughts on the film. First off, the cinematography in the movie is actually kind of good. I do think overall this movie is actually well shot. This movie didn't exactly have too huge of a budget from what I can tell. But I think from what of the budgets that they were able to accomplish, I thought they actually did film this movie pretty well. I'm not gonna lie, there are actually some decent shots in this movie. The movie does have quite a few close up shots where it kind of does close in on certain things that are happening in the scene. And honestly, I think the movie actually does it pretty well. honestly, I have to say I generally did, like the way that they actually filmed this movie. It was honestly pretty good. Yeah, so overall, I would say the cinematography in the movie was quite good. In terms of the editing, now, I think overall the movie is well edited. Like, I do think it is quite interesting, what the movie actually does with its editing at times. Like, I mean, the way that, like, they kind of edit a lot of these scenes is done pretty well. And, like, this movie isn't really told, like, in a linear structure because, like, even though we have, like, this main plot, like, our main characters kind of starting to become aware of things going on behind the scenes, there's good portions of the movie where we're having flashbacks to when the main character is young, with his mother and everything. Overall, I think the movie was pretty well edited in that regard with how they exactly did all that. Yeah, so overall, I do think the editing in this movie was pretty good. Now, in terms of the film's pace, now, this movie, it's not exactly too long. Like, with the movie only being like around an hour and a half, it's not too long of a movie, but what I will say though is that the movie kind of does have like a bit of a slow pace to it. The movie kind of does, just like sort of trudge along like with a very kind of slow pace. Well, to be fair, I wasn't really all that bothered by the slow pacing. Like, honestly, I actually do think it worked well for the movie and like kind of the story that they were trying to tell you. I think the slow pace actually works pretty well in that regard. But yeah, so overall, I would say that the pace in this movie was pretty good. In terms of the sound and music in the movie, like, we do kind of hear, some sound effects throughout the film, like, like kind of some of the sounds that we hear, like off coal and stuff, I like kind of some of these other sounds like when we see like here driving and stuff. Yeah, I honestly think it's pretty well done, and it kind of really adds to the atmosphere of the movie well enough. And well, in terms of the music, there's quite a few times during this movie where we actually don't hear like any music. Like, there's actually a fair few scenes in the film where like it's kind of like, quiet. Like, there's actually a lot of that in this movie. Like, a lot of the scenes, like, the sounds make compromise stuff, like, all these characters, like, talking and stuff. Yeah, honestly, I do think, all that was executed well enough. But, like, what score we do get in the movie is okay, though. Like, I mean, like, it's nothing really that memorable, but I think it does work for the atmosphere of the movie, as I said. yeah, as I said, the movie doesn't really have like a lot of a score in it, which kind of does work given, as I said, that atmosphere that they're kind of going with it. Yeah, so overall, all the sounds and music in the movie was decent. It was a bit of a quiet movie, but like with what sounds that we actually did get in the movie, I thought it was pretty well done, honestly. In terms of the characters and the acting, obviously we have our main protagonist in this movie, Bill Furlong. And like honestly, I did like his character. The movie is told like from his perspective because he's like a coal merchant having to drop off all this like coal to different places, and he starts to pick up upon some of the things happening. Yeah, honestly, he was actually a good character, and like I like how the movie really shows us his character and how like he reacts to these situations that he becomes aware of. Yeah, also I thought he was actually a good protagonist. Like the movie kind of delves like into his past, with when he was young, and like his relationship with his mother who ended up passing away when he was young. And I thought like all that like aspects of the movie was done well and how it fit into the main story, but more on that in a bit. Yeah, he was a good character, and it's no surprise to hear me say this, but Cillian Murphy is genuinely great in this movie. Like a lot of his reactions throughout the film, like on his face, like you can tell, what his character is thinking, what his character is feeling, without a word being said. Yeah, Cillian is honestly just one of those actors who is just really good at that. Yeah, he does it very well in this movie. And also, as well as Cillian, I think the actor who plays Bill, when we see him as a kid, did pretty well here also. So yeah, Bill was a good protagonist, and as always, Cillian Murphy gives an exceptional performance. Now like we do have a fair few other characters in the movie. Like we have Bill's family, and we have like a bunch of other like characters. To be honest, I don't think I'll like go really into all these other supporting characters, but what I will say is that I think for the roles that they serve in the plot, they overall serve these roles very well, and overall I think the cast in this movie do a pretty good job with what they are given, although one actress in this movie who I do want to mention is Emily Watson. Yeah, she has a role in this as the Reverend's mother. I will say I thought she did honestly quite well in this movie. Like she comes off as generally like a well-meaning and fair person, but with like how she kind of talks and how she acts, but clearly you can tell behind the scenes, like there's definitely a lot more to her character, because you can clearly tell she definitely has some sinister intentions. Yeah, I thought Emily Watson honestly did a very good job of displaying that. Yeah, honestly, I thought she did very well in this movie. Overall, I think all the characters and the acting were quite good all around. I would definitely think though, that Cillian Murphy and Emily Watson are standouts in their roles. But yeah, overall, in terms of the characters and the acting, quite solid. Now in terms of the movie's plot, the basic plot of this movie is we have our main character, Bill Furlong. He's a coal merchant, and he ends up making, let's just say, quite a disturbing discovery. While he's out on his rounds one day. Yeah, all I'll say is I think the plot of this movie is pretty well done. This movie does deal with honestly some kind of heavy topics, if you guys are aware of the Magdalene laundries, let's just say it was quite an infamous thing in the last 100 years in Ireland. It started in this country back in 1922, and yeah, you can kind of do a bit of research on it yourself, but apparently it was actually going on as recent as 1996, which yeah, actually a bit disturbing to think about. But yeah, this movie deals with that. This movie is set in 1985 in Ireland. The movie does address all this, and trying to think that as recent as that, this stuff was happening. Even after the events of this movie, it pretty much happens for another decade after that and stuff. But what's kind of going on in this movie is our main character, he's starting to become aware of it and stuff, and throughout the movie in his head you can clearly tell, he is having this moral dilemma where he's not sure about what he should do, if he should actually go out and tell people and stuff. And honestly, I do think the movie executes it quite well. As I said, this movie is kind of short enough. There is, a bit of kind of a slow burn pace to it. As I said, there's not really too much music in this film. It has this grim atmosphere that works pretty well, honestly. We be going back before the events of the film, with the main character and his mother, and I will say though, I think that whole aspect of the plot, it actually relates into what's kind of mainly happening actually pretty well, honestly. With how it's executed and stuff. But overall, I think the plot was handled well here. I feel like the movie kind of could have done certain things which I think actually could have spiced up the plot of the movie a bit more. Also, I actually kind of feel maybe the movie could have been a bit longer, or at least I kind of wish there could be certain things that kind of happened in this movie which I feel would have given the film that bit more of an oomph to it, if you know what I'm saying. But nonetheless, the plot that we do get here, I honestly do think is well handled, and it does make for a decent slow burn movie with, kind of a grim undertone to it. Yeah, so overall, I will say the plot of the movie is pretty good. In terms of the film's narrative structure now, also we have our main plot with, our main character, Bill Furlong. He makes a discovery, and, I said he's going back and forth. Should he, actually speak up about it, or, like, is it best, like, if he just, like, shuts his mouth? Yeah, honestly, I do have to say, I think that was handled well here. It was, an engaging plot, but also we, do have, his, like, mother when he was young, and we see, like, flashbacks with his deceased mother, and, like, I will say, the way that fits in with what's kind of mainly happening is done pretty well. As I said, like, I won't get into it for, like, the sake of, spoilers, but how it kind of fits into what's mainly happening is executed pretty well. So overall, I think the movie has, kind of a decent narrative structure. Like, it's not, like, an amazing narrative structure in my opinion, but, like, how it tells this non-linear story and how these events kind of tie into each other, I think is done overall pretty well. So overall, Small Things Like These is a pretty good movie. Yeah, I think it's well shot. Well, as you said, I like kind of this kind of whole slow burn of it, and this kind of whole grim atmosphere to it. There was some good acting in this, especially from Cillian Murphy and Emily Watson. And, like, I think the story of it, how it tells the story, and how, like, things tie into each other is done pretty well. Now, I wouldn't say that I loved this movie or I think it's amazing. It's like, it's not a film which, I'm gonna be, like, rewatching a whole lot, just kind of because, it is kind of a bit of, like, kind of a grim movie, and, like, I feel like the movie could have done, like, some other things that could have happened, to kind of just give the film a bit more of an oomph. I feel like if they had kind of added certain things into the film, it could have benefited the story more. I feel like it could have made the film a bit better, but as it stands though, I do think it's a decent film, and I think if you can, stomach kind of a heavy movie like this, I think it honestly is worth a watch. So with that, I am going to give Small Things Like These a strong 7 out of 10. So with that, I'll see you guys next time, and bye.